The face and the personage of Jack Lemmon is, of course, unique to him, to you. To each of you who are watching it, of course, it has its own identity with whatever movie you've seen him in and liked him or didn't like him. But I'm interested to ask you here.
Just a minute.
Yes.
Who, Joe? I want to know who it is that didn't like. I'm very insecure. Never mind. Go ahead.
Okay. There's got to be somebody. Although I would guess not.
You're not kidding.
Not very often. What do you hope people think when they see Jack Lemmon? Like in this
that they're seeing a good performance. Really, you know, and that they enjoy whatever it is that I'm in naturally. But
are you upset by the fact that I'm sure a lot of people identify you with things that you did 15, 20 years ago?
Sure. No, that doesn't upset me, because that means that they've really made an impact. You know, if someone comes up to me and starts talking about Pulver and Mr. Roberts, which was practically I think it was my third or fourth film. It was made in '54 and released in '55.
Still a fresh film.
You know, that's terrific. I think that's marvelous. That's the great thing about film as opposed to stage, which I adore. But film is there, and when it is good, it isn't gone forever. You know, everybody talks about, let's say, Barrymore as Hamlet. Well, I'll never know. You know,
now,
unfortunately.
Take us inside the world of Jack Lemmon, who I would presume at your station in life can pick and choose what you want to do.
Yeah.
You don't worry about making a living. Are you inundated with scripts? Is your agent or your manager always saying you should?
Yes, and I'm certainly not alone.
Yeah.
You know.
No, of course
yes, I am. And if out of all of those scripts and everything, if you do 1 or 1.5 films a year, that's about all you can do.
Do you feel you have a certain image as a successful actor? Is that a part of your consideration for a script, or what is,
No.
if that isn't?
No, I have no idea what may attract me. I might play a murderer or something in my next film, or it might be a broad comedy. I really don't know. It's the part itself. I don't look for anything. If anything, I have fought like mad not to have an image. And there was a certain middle period in the 20, 25 years that I've been in films where I had to defeat an image. I began to, and I was unconscious of it, but everybody began to say it's a Jack Lemmon part. It's sort of the average fella that somehow muddles through and manages to make it, etc., and so forth. And there became some kind of an image. I don't know what it was, but anyway, there it was. And I got worried about it. I don't want an image. I didn't want that security, frankly, at all.
Well, I was interested in this film, China Syndrome. We'll mention the name so we go through that to make everybody feel comfortable. That it was a non-Jack Lemmon role to me. I didn't see any of the mannerisms I identify with you.
Great.
I didn't see any of the things that, until this movie, I identified with you, which leads me to what I was going to ask you is, are those mannerisms, and I won't try and duplicate them, but you know what they are, the stutter, the thing. Is that the way you really are? Or
It
is.
See, I'm unaware of it.
Yeah.
I am totally unaware of that.
Yeah. The double take.
There's things, that happen when you're working or when we're talking now. I am totally, it's not intentional, in other words. Rich Little is a friend of mine. And I want to tell you, if you've ever come close to a nervous breakdown, every time he sees me, he stops and he looks, and I go, uh-oh, here it comes. And he starts talking to me as me. And we hold a conversation, and he does me, and I'm talking back to him, and I go, absolutely. It's like looking in a mirror, but getting a different answer. It's insane.
You do
and
recognize
I don't know. I'm doing. I've watched these hands going, and the face, and I'm unaware of any of it. You know. And it's crazy. I'm glad I'm unaware of it. Because otherwise, I think it would be mannered. It would be like an actor using his technique, but it shows.
But, okay, but now taking that, the fact that they are natural mannerisms, they're not present in this movie.
No.
Therefore, I must conclude you made a conscious effort not to act natural.
Yes, there's certain parts where I think it's extremely important that you just be as far away as possible. We developed a phrase, a key phrase, that Jim Bridges, whom I have immense respect for, the writer-director of the film, ever since he did Paper Chase, which he wrote and directed. It's one of the few films I've ever seen 5 times. I was so taken with it, and this is 4 or 5 years ago, I called my agent and said, please get a hold of this man and make a lunch date. I respect him so much, I want to meet him. And we did, and then fortunately, I'd always wanted to work with him, of course, and it came to be. When I would do a take, during China Syndrome, during the shooting now and then, he'd say, okay, fine, good, let's print that. Now, let's do one more, military. Military became a word saying, be careful. Hold everything back in. Let it all happen from inside and through the eyes. Don't make a move that might be any move that you'd made. Don't don't be Jack Lemmon at all.
Yeah.
Don't let any part of you come through, if possible.
Now, let's go back to Mr. Robbins for a minute. You were in the Navy, for real.
Yeah.
Did you have any experiences that helped you?
Man, what good casting. I was pulver, boy. I went to Harvard, and I was 18 as I was going to Harvard, and the war broke, so I was automatically in the V-12 ROTC program there. Well, fortunately for all of us, the war was over by the time I got commissioned, and they put this hot new young ensign on an aircraft carrier, the USS Lake Champlain, and by mistake, because I arrived at like 3 in the morning or something or other, the exec was shaken out of his bed in his cot, and he looked and he thought, oh, you must be the new communications officer. Communications officer of an air? I'd never been in a rowboat of an aircraft carrier. Well, hell, now the next thing I know, I log everything off. They're deactivating. I said, well, the fastest I can clean up the whole communications department, I can go home. Terrific. I just needed a few more points before I could get out, you see. So I didn't have any flags. I didn't have any lights. I had nothing left. I even had the code machines going off the ship, which is, I could have
started World War
been
III.
Anyhow, they suddenly decided to go from Norfolk to Newport News through the channel. I ran it aground. A ship came at us, flashing, screaming, sirens going, flashing lights and everything else, skidding sideways. And I couldn't read the flags. I couldn't read the blinking lights. I couldn't read anything, and the captain was screaming. He pulled it over on the side. We went right into the side of the canal and everything else. They got me off of that mother so fast, you don't believe.
Okay, see, that's the real life Jack Lemmon.
Lord.
As he said, it's a good thing the war ended when it did. Who knows what you're not in the reserve, are you?
No, ma'am, they
Okay.
wouldn't have me.
Jack Lemmon, thanks a million.
Thank you, Joe. I enjoyed it.
We'll be right back.